Hello again, and welcome back to 2B2T. So we're on episode 6. As you can hear in the background, the wash machine is still going. Yes, it's still the same wash. Because I decided to do back-to-back videos today. So literally I've just finished episode 5 and we are going straight into episode 6. So want to get some more diamonds. So I'll try not to go on a tangent discussing labour laws and healthcare in the UK versus America because it's mean. So yeah. So after talking about that for half an hour, what do we talk about? What conversation shall we have? So as I previously mentioned, I work in a school, so we're in half term at the moment. I'm not quite sure what the equivalent is elsewhere and whether other countries split up the school year the same. So sorry, I'm really croaky today. It doesn't help that I just talk non-stop for half an hour. So I'm not a teacher. I did consider teacher training when I was younger, but I'll be honest, I always said I would never teach in this country because the UK government meddles too much with what the hell did I just do? With the education system. So after me flexing on about healthcare and job security, I'm going to go the other way. When it comes to education, I think America's got it better. I'm not saying I agree with everything that is taught, but as a whole, I think your education system is better than ours. Ours gets dabbled with far too much. Now, I think you're underfunded. I think every education system is underfunded, regardless of the country. But I think from all the things I've heard, all the things I've read, that in the US, you get a better education than you do in the UK. That's probably the better way of doing it. I think, unfortunately, depends on where you live. Wealthy areas have better schools, a better education than poorer areas. But that's the same here in the UK. You know, if you're in an area that's very wealthy, the schools are better because more money gets put into them. It's unfortunately a sad fact. The same here. And, you know, poorer areas and that the schools are often massively underfunded, and from what I understand, it's pretty much the same for you guys. But I do think your quality of education is better than we get here. So after me massively flexing on the last video, I'm now going to go, yeah, you know what? We're not perfect. We're not perfect. And, you know, you think about it, and that's its case of how the UK runs. It's understandable. Has anybody ever wondered how such a small island, because let's face it, look at a map and look at the size of the UK, the full UK, not just England and that, but Ireland, Scotland, Wales. Look at the physical size of us. Has anybody ever wondered how we are a part of the G8? So if you're not familiar, G8 refers to the eight richest countries in the UN. And we're a member. Now, sometimes countries get demoted to not so much being able to participate in the talks during the G8 summits, but mainly observers if they aren't wealthy enough. So how is it such a small country, and let's face it, we're not, you know, it's not a big industrial country. You're not talking like countries like Japan who are leading the way in technology and industry. If you look at our population, you know, and think about how much tax, you know, the average resident pays, There's no way we should be that wealthy. So I'm going to let you in on one of the worst kept secrets. And it's pretty much not really talked about, but common knowledge to most of the UK population. The money the UK has comes from two main industries. And these are not good industries. We are probably one of the biggest arms dealers. We don't produce the weapons, we buy them. And we sell them. We are probably one of the biggest arms dealers in the world. And that's where a big chunk of our money comes from. The rest of our money comes from our next big industry, which isn't much better. You ever wondered what Canary Wharf really is? Canary Wharf is probably the biggest centre for money laundering. So our industry is basically the arms trade and money laundering. It's not something to be proud of, I know. And it's like the worst kept secret. Because, let's face it, there's no way such a small country with such a small population should be as wealthy as we are. You know, you hear a lot about forgiving debts for poorer countries. Those debts are often forgiven with a clause. You say, you guys have lots of these weapons spare. Great. Tell you what, we'll knock this off your debt, we'll take them off your hands. We have a client who needs to buy them. That's pretty much how it works. The UK is the biggest bunch of crooks going. The government. Even our National Museum is pretty much filled with stuff that we stole from other countries. Now, Greece is on to us constantly about us giving back these what's known as the Elgin marbles. And basically Elgin was a British aristocrat who went travelling to Greece and basically walked out with a lot of antiquities. Now, in his defence, and this is one of the things I actually stand up with, they were being destroyed. He saw pieces of art, marble and stuff from ancient Greece literally being ground down to make walls. So he basically nicked as much as he could to preserve it. A lot of what's known as the Elgin marbles wouldn't exist if we hadn't taken them. So yeah, so we're sort of Greece keeps saying we want them back, and we're like, dude, we nicked them 200 years ago. You guys were like destroying them, so no, we're not giving them back. Just because you've now decided you want them back. You know, yeah, it was 200 years ago. We didn't understand the importance of preserving history back then. But even we understood enough that you don't destroy something like that. Oh dear, but yeah. The other half of the British Museum is on loan. We've borrowed from other countries. We don't tend to steal as much anymore. So in case you didn't know, Brits, UK as a whole, not individual people, are the biggest crooks going. We are so bad. Individually, as a people, we're actually not. We are. There's a reason why we're considered, polite and stuff. The stereotype of the average Brit. And yeah, it's not wrong. But we do that to hide what we're really like. Oh dear. Can anybody remember what time we started? So it was 6 minutes past when we logged off. And then we logged off about a minute later. So yeah, we've been going about 10 minutes. So yeah, so there you go. A bit of information about the background to the British people is that we we are polite. We are, stiff upper lip and all the rest of it. But that's to hide our more nefarious side. And there you go. One of the worst kept secrets in the world. A big chunk of the UK's money comes from illegal activity. Because, basically Canary Wharf is where a money exchange place, you know, where you can change from different currencies. Not really explaining it very well. Not really understanding it very well. Basically, I know money goes in and money goes out, and we get a cut. And if that's not money laundering, I don't know what is. It's like with our taxes. The number of big businesses who don't fully pay the tax, and every so often we'll name and shame them, but we never chase them over it. Because we want them to carry on doing business here. You know, we don't want them to go, oh, right, we'll go somewhere else then, since you guys are being, you know, dickish about this. Let's, we won't bother dealing with you anymore. So, you know, it's like, well, you know, we're going to name and shame you, but we won't pursue you for, 25 should be fine. Any legal actions, because it's just not worth the headache. Right. Now, the only problem with doing this is now I don't know which way is out. I think it's down here. Nope. Okay, that's not the way out. I may have to use free cam to figure out how to get out of this maze. Okay, let's go. Let's go this way. This way looks this way. Yeah, there we go. There's the torch. Oh dear. So yeah, there you go. Little bit of information on the UK. Half the British Museum is stolen from other countries, and we make most of our money through arms deals and money laundering. There you go. Oh dear. So, about a week or so ago, I was watching a YouTube video, and it was an interview going on a completely random tangent now. I can't remember the name of the channel, and basically the interviewer was interviewing Jared. Is it Jared 2013 or 213 or something? Sorry, I'm not going to stick your ego because I can't remember your proper name. Anyway, so he was talking about his time on 2B and how he was 11 years old when he joined and all the rest of it, and how the servers changed and all the rest. And yeah, the server has changed, and was saying about how he thinks it's worse now, that you know, player base is more toxic than it used to be. You know, it's not the same as it once was. You know, you don't have the same sort of players, and it got me thinking. First thing I thought was, well, it's going to seem different because you joined when you were 11 years old. Now, that was 10 years ago, so you are now 21. So you started playing it as a child, and you're now looking at it through the eyes of an adult. So it will appear different. You won't see it in the same way as you did originally. And then I was thinking about what you were saying about the players, you know, in general. And the more I thought about it, the more I disagreed. So how to put this? Yes, there are a few. Right, I've made a decision. We're gonna turn on ESP. We need to find storage. Yeah, that's the one. So we could do a finding and ender chest. I might turn on traces on that as well, actually. Right. Sorry, I'm so used to having them on all the time. I'm having a moment now. Well, they're outlined. I'm sure there's... Okay, maybe... Oh, no, it's search. Search adds the lines, doesn't it? Yeah. My apologies. Yeah. You know, that the player base is now more toxic, and people being toxic for the sake of it. You know, doing things just that it's much worse than it was then. And like I say, it got me thinking. Aha! That's what we're looking for. See, I knew we wouldn't have to go far for ender chests. And I disagree. See, yes, there are a few. There are players who want to be the next Pop-Pop, want to be the next Tristan and the next Jared, who want to have that level of infamy and fame attached to them. I'm not dropping down there because my water clutch abilities are not that great. But they are few. We aren't talking like every player is like that. As a whole, my interactions with players on this server have been mainly positive. So yes, I've run into a few toxic players who've, and I've fallen to a few. The last time I died to a player, that player was defending an area that he was a part of a group that was working on something, and his job was to make sure it didn't get griefed. And he did what he had to do to protect it. He didn't know who I was, he didn't know what my intentions were, so he acted accordingly. And once he realised his mistake, he was so apologetic. He even went as far as replacing my gear that I lost because of things having Curse of Vanishing on. Now, he didn't have to do that. And I wouldn't have had a problem if he hadn't done. And he's not the only player I've bumped into. Over time I have bumped into other players. Not long after I joined, I was in semi-enchanted diamond armour. And I was out exploring. So I was on foot, using nether occasionally. No elytra at this point, and I went to King's Landing. Oh yeah, I forgot to put that in there. Right, let's get these in here. And there was another player there. Let's make sure we are good. With spare tools if need be. So, but worst comes to worst, we need to bring some stone and put some there. So yeah, there was another player there. He was clearly using hacks and stuff. And he saw me long before I saw him because he would have had traces popping up to show that I was there. And he didn't attack. He just went and carried on doing whatever he was doing. And I, walked away because I didn't want to find myself in a situation fighting someone and getting killed very quickly because, there was no way else. Why do they look like that? That looks so cool. Sorry, I got distracted. And I haven't been... Have I? No. It's like it's an X-ray glitch. That's really weird. So yeah. He could have very easily just killed me without any trouble. But he didn't because, he didn't want it. There was nothing to gain from it. So, yeah, that's something I would say. My experiences... Now, I'm not an OG on this server. I've been playing a little over 12 months. And that's it. I haven't played any longer than that. But in those 12 months, I have bumped into a few people. So I'm not a noob by any stretch of the imagination anymore. But I'm not an OG either. So I'm sort of like in the middle ground. And yeah, I would say the player base is far from toxic. You get your few who are wanting to make a name for themselves and all that jazz. But for the most part, most players are anything but toxic. That they are here to play the game. The builders, explorers, like Cody Smiles, who came up a few videos ago and we had a big rant over. Yeah, he's not interested in griefing. He's not a toxic player. He's a builder. Are we doing that weird thing again where it's sort of really laggy? And most of the players I've come across seem to be similar. They may be members of groups, but as a whole, they're not there to make things hard for other people. They're playing the game how they want to play. And they're letting other people play how they want to play. So yeah, so I would disagree that this server is worse now than it used to be. I'd say it's quite the opposite. You know, you get some people join because of the notoriety of the server, because they have heard about, you know, past players. And yeah, you got your wannabes. But most aren't. You know, when I joined here, I didn't join this because I wanted to be the next big griefer or pop bop or anything like that. And even some of the griefers, you know, I'll come on to that in a minute, are far from toxic. You know, it's just that's the game they play. So yeah, so I just thought I'd mention that my experiences on this server as a whole are positive. That I would say at least good 2/3, if not more, of the player base are not interested in causing problems. See, we never got around to getting a bow. So do we need the arrows? Yeah, so just thought I'd mention that. So we've got about 10 minutes left of this episode, and then we'll be heading down. So you might be wondering why I've just literally thrown all the stone in the ender chest. There are so many ender chests when you get into the end and along the highways for a good way. So rather than carrying them and risk losing them all to fall damage, I'm stashing them all away in the ender chest, and then we'll pull them out when we need them. So I put in some of the food. So I haven't put all my big chunk of food in because we'll, if we need to, we can get chorus fruit. There's wood in there, so if we end up having to mine for endstone because we run out of our own bricks, we can keep replacing picks, or can't repair them because we haven't got enough iron to make an anvil. But we can do that thing where you... yes we can. Sorry, I'm forgetting with 1.12, there's this thing you can do is anyway, just using your inventory. The normal 4x4 grid, if you put 2 items together, you know, 2 pieces of tools together, you can combine them. Can't combine enchantments, but it's sort of like what a... There's a spider. Should we go for him? I want the string. Oh dear. Yeah, sort of like what grindstone does in more recent versions. There's quite a few mobs down there. Why are they black? I've never had them do... Oh, spiders despawn. Okay, and I think one's a creeper, so no, we won't bother. So yeah. What was I talking about? Not sure. Oh dear, yeah. I was wittering, talking about getting ready to go into the end. That was it. Right, let's see. Let's get a bit more bread. Alright, so let's get that. Okay. So I think I'll throw that in. Right, we don't need the arrows. They can stay here. We need to get some water in that. Don't need the coal. That can stay here. We'll keep the boat for the time being. I think we can get rid of the stone tools, including the hoe. We don't need that. We're going to head over now to... Let's get some more water. Yeah, see, that's quite a few mobs have spawned in. It does seem that mob spawn rate, sometimes the nearest spawn is slightly higher than further away for the hostile mobs. It doesn't say much because the spawn rate's rubbish. Full stop. One of the things I was... at my current base I did have a creeper farm, which I've now completely dismantled because it wasn't great. Though it turned out to have been better than I realised. Because a lot of the drops were stuck in the minecart hopper. But beside the point, it yeah, so there's been quite a few times I'd AFK'd there for quite a few hours and maybe like had 2 creepers spawn. You know, and I'd be there for like 4-5 hours AFKing. So it's like, it just wasn't worth having it there. So dismantled it. But I had noticed how more frequently mobs seem to spawn underground. So I was thinking of rebuilding it underground. However, as I'm going to be moving bases soon, so as soon as these videos are done and I've got this guy back to my current base, I am going to be moving bases. I'm going to go looking for a new base for myself. Okay, so we'll keep half of that out. So we've got food. That should see us. Yeah, so I'm going to be looking for a new location. So I will be, I'll probably build a creeper farm again, but I'll try and build it underground. So I might record some of what I do with that, because my plan is to actually there's all that coal here, to build the base completely underground. So as long as I don't show bedrock and as long as I don't show the surface, I should be okay. If that's not the case, please let me know. Alright, so I think we're going to leave it here because we're coming up on the half an hour mark. Right, I think also we will turn off search and ESP. They were only put on for us finding an ender chest. So I think we're going to call it here. It's coming up on the half an hour mark again. So I'm happy with where we are. We are going to head back to spawn. Now, I could throw everything in an ender chest and just go back the quick way, but we're not going to. We're going to go, well, at the moment I'm not planning to. I may change my mind between now and the next episode because I'm not going to record straight away now. I've got some things to do in real life which I need to go and do. So I'm just happy I've got 2 episodes done, and it just looks really gorgeous doing that, don't I? So this is me signing off, wishing you a good rest of your day, and this is the end of episode 6, I think, unless I've just got myself confused and it's not that episode. Anyway, either way, see you later guys, bye!